All right, what's up, my brothers? We have to talk about this Facebook group that these women have created called Are We Dating the Same Guy? I've received a number of warnings from guys over the last few months on this topic. There's one here that I'm going to read for you in a moment. But essentially, it's a group where the ladies get together and they talk about whether or not they're dating the same guy, swap stories, sometimes war stories, and in many cases, made up stories or doxing of the guys, which is becoming problematic. I find this interesting because we live in a time where women love tuning into TV shows where it's a show like The Bachelor or Bachelorette about a guy dating a whole bunch of women. They'll celebrate that. But when a guy in his own private life might be dating women simultaneously to try to figure out, what might be good for girlfriend material or even wife material, that's when they start running into problems. So let me read this to sort of frame it. I'm going to offer a little bit of feedback, some experience, and some advice. He goes, everyone get in here. You're going to want to sit down for this. Over the last 6 months, every city has developed something called a Are We Dating the Same Guy Facebook chat. In this chat, every girl, and he says, and I mean every, who is under the age of 50 and dating has joined it. In it, they post your dating picture, name, everything they know about you, your hopes, your fears, and all your awkward moments and failures that you don't tell anybody about. They all essentially have a per city database of men, along with everything personal. If you are considering online dating, do not. If you are dating, be aware. Do not give any personal or insecure information out to any girl you meet online. The database was originally designed to stop predatory men, but it turned into a citywide gossip doxing of all men who managed to get dates. Anyway, it wraps up on that note. So let's hop on the road and chop this up a little bit and see what we can cook up. All right, so essentially we have these Facebook groups now where girls are getting together and they're collaborating to share stories, war stories even. Some of them are not even war stories, they're just made up stories because they got ghosted or dumped or a guy didn't call them back. I don't think this is a relatively new phenomenon, if we're being honest. This is something that I experienced years ago when I was still spinning plates before I had a girlfriend. And like I always tell you guys to do, date a bunch of women simultaneously, non-monogamously, to figure out which are the good ones and which are the bad ones. For guys, this strategy is especially important if you're looking for a girlfriend, or even if you're looking for mother stock, if you want to have a family sort of thing and raise children, because it helps separate the wheat from the chaff. And if you don't do that, you can end up in some serious problems, if we're being honest. So I'm dating a few women at this time, and this one gal that I'm talking to, she's this is who I am, sends me a few pictures, and I notice in one of the pictures, she's not exactly my type. Something is off. And I'm the kind of guy that likes fit women. I like women that are fit, but with curves. I'm gonna accentuate that again. I like a fit gal, again, not overweight or fat or anything like that, but a fit woman, but still with curves. She's gotta have hips, a bum, and some boobs on her. Now, this gal was beyond fit and didn't have the latter part, the curves. She, in one photograph, looked so huge. Her arms were so jacked, they actually looked bigger than mine, like jacked, big arms, okay? And that's not my style, so I just sort of let her down nicely. I said, look, I'm sure you're a really nice person, but I'm not looking for somebody that into fitness with arms bigger than mine. That's probably what I said. Half jokingly, half serious. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. Around the same time, a few days later, another girl that I'm talking to, I'm lining up the date to go out and see, she sends me a message. Hey, there's something I want to talk to you about that I'm a little concerned about. I was talking to, I can't remember her name, we'll call her Becky. I was talking to Becky, and Becky said that you were talking to her and you said some mean things to her. And I'm thinking to myself, who the hell is Becky, and what could I have possibly said that would have hurt anybody's feelings, or that was so mean that it's raising interest in another one of their friend circle? And I'm guessing at this time, these Facebook groups probably didn't exist, but what probably did exist was group chats. WhatsApp was around that time, sort of stuff like that. And I think women, they sort of toss around pictures. Oh, I got a date with this weekend, and they post a picture, and the ladies look at it. Oh, he's so handsome, or he's such a whatever. Or one of them in the group goes, I know that guy, and then they go and tell their heartbreak story. Anyway, I happen to be the I know that guy in that situation, and Becky made up the story about how I said she was disgusting and so unattractive, and how mean of a person I am, and that she now needs therapy as a result of having a conversation with me, and blah, blah, blah. You take the little violin and you play it for them, and that's where you're at. So these things have not become new today. They've been around for a while. It's just now the ladies are utilizing things like Facebook to essentially create these groups with women that they don't know personally, to post and share photographs of guys that they're dating. Because let's be honest, women love those conversations piece. If they didn't, shows like The Bachelor and Bachelorette wouldn't be as popular as they are today. Let's just be real here. That's why people watch that crap. And let's be honest, it is crap. as far as that comment goes, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're dealing with a chick that loves shows like that, to me, that's a red flag. They love drama. They love manufactured indignation. They love the whole fairy tale BS. I'll talk about that more in another video perhaps, but the point that I'm being here is, if you're dating and you're dating multiple women, chances are at some point in your city, especially if it's a large urban city, you're going to end up in one of these Facebook groups. Now, I saw another chat thread, another discussion piece that popped up where this guy was talking about how he ended up in one of these groups, and his ex-wife was the one that happened to see him in the "are we dating the same guy" sort of chat. Of course, they've moved on, they've parted ways, they had a very amicable divorce, everything was fine, not a lot of conflict, no issues with parenting with the kids, one of those unusual ones. And she sees this post with her ex-husband in one of these "are we dating the same guy" Facebook groups. And the post comes from a lady who's like, "I dated this guy, and then he just ghosted me, and he stopped talking to me, and he just took advantage of me, and he was da-da-da-da," and made up all this mean stuff about him. And the ex-wife who saw it, who's also in the group, who's probably concerned for her own well-being and, you know, thinks it's a good group to be in, starts to chime in and says, "Well, actually, I was married to him, and that's definitely not him. We have kids together," and corrected all the exaggerated truths, if we can call them that. Well, what ended up happening was she got thrown out of the group for chiming in and sharing her personal experience with the guy. She was actually married to him for over 12 years and had some experience with a guy, a lot more than some random Becky had that was dating a guy for a couple of weeks, and he ghosted her. And this is the reality of the world that we live in today. You know, one of the things that I find interesting about women is they're hypergamous, so they want to find their best option. The interesting component about that is it seems like women don't want other women to be happy and find their best option. That's the reason why women chase guys that are already with gals. It's pre-selection. If she selected him and if she is with him, then he must be a high enough value guy. He must be, you know, having something interesting going on in his life. So I, as a woman, are going to go and chase that guy as well. It's interesting how that works, right? But it is what it is. There's not much you can do about it. That's just part of female nature. We'll call it a feature, not a bug. When you understand it, you can, of course, use it to your advantage. Again, when you understand innate female behavior, that's what their baseline nature is. So with that being said, guys, you're going to have to be careful when you're rolling with online dating sites. You just can't go out and about dating a whole bunch of women, ghosting them, smashing, not calling back, maybe doing things that you wouldn't, you know, want to do. The way that I would put it to you is, if you're giving away information, that's one of the points that this dude made here as well. If you're giving away intimate stories and details to a random girl that you're dating for a few weeks or a month or something like that, you're doing something wrong. You need to hold back on certain areas like that and not give away the farm when it comes to the conversations, because they dig. They want to know about you. How long have you been dating? How long have you been single? How long were you married? What was your longest relationship? Oh, where did you travel to? Why did you travel to? Da 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 da. And you know, guys will sing like a canary. And you know, dudes, you should use your ears and your mouth in the ratio that you have them. You have 2 ears and a mouth. You should listen twice as much as you talk. And to be honest with you, you're going to do better if you handle it that way anyway, because women love talking. Women love talking about themselves. They're going to reveal who they are. They're going to certainly, you know, expose a lot about who they could potentially be later on down the road. Because let's be honest, you're always dating the representative. You know, women will say the same thing about guys. Well, that applies for guys too. Okay, fine, whatever. You know, you're always dating the representative. So be careful with what you talk about, what you disclose. I've seen guys that have been so protective about their lives and everything that goes on in their lives that they even make up a name, or they'll use their middle name instead of their first name, or they'll use one of these secondary phones or one of these Google numbers that you can get from these different apps that are like temporary numbers, and they're not your actual phone number that they can use against you, stuff like that. So there's certain protective measures that you can use. I've seen guys talk about. You should never bring them back to your place, you know, for a quick hookup. If you're one of these guys that's like, gotta get the same night lay, want to get the quick hookup sort of thing, you know, don't be bringing them back to your place, especially if you don't even know the chick. Like, be very, very careful. The other thing too is, if you're dating a gal and you don't dig her vibe, you don't see anything long-term with her, and you don't even see anything as far as like a friends with benefits opportunity, right? If you see friends with benefits, just be honest and just say, look, not looking for anything serious with you, but I'm happy to continue the fun aspect of it. I'm happy to continue the hookup part of it. If that's what they want, good. Indulge. If they don't, let them go. Just be nice about it. I'm not saying be a pussy, be a pushover, or any of those things, but just be kind about it. Don't be a nice guy, just be a kind guy about it. Look, you know, I know you're looking for a husband, I know you're looking for boyfriend type of material. That's not me. I don't see what we're doing here going in that direction. So I don't want to waste your time, and I'm just going to let you go, you know? So good luck. You know, I hope you find what you're looking for and you let her go, especially if they're crazy. Guys, you know the crazy ones when you see them, they're pretty obvious. So look out for them. Let them down easy. Don't be mean about it. Don't tell them they've got big biceps and look like men, for sure, because they'll bend and manipulate and twist that out of proportion, if you know what I'm saying. Be very, very careful with how you let them down. And if anything, I would also keep your text trail. Don't delete, you know, any kind of messages back and forth. It's probably worth keeping. You know, we live in the Me Too era today, where, you know, it's always believe all women. And that's how the law seems to work by default in the West. It's always just believe all women. You know, whatever she says, believe what she says, trust what she says. And what she says is always the truth. Doesn't matter if it's the truth, it's gonna be her truth. So, you know, that's the reality of the landscape that you're in, guys. You gotta be careful. Some dudes will say it's just not worth it. Don't use dating apps. I think chances are, even if you didn't use dating apps and you were a cold approach guy, or you're the kind of guy that, you know, you're just kind of going about your life and you're doing something, and you run into an attractive woman at the bank or the grocery store or the gas station, and you chat them up and you get their phone number, you'll probably still end up in a page like this. So I don't think excluding yourself from dating sites is going to solve the problem, because the title of these Facebook pages are we dating the same guy, right? So doesn't matter where you meet them, nightclub, bar, restaurant, gas station, or dating app, you'll probably end up there. So be careful. And last but not least, I think one of the best pieces of advice that I ever got is somebody once told me, look, if you're going to do anything, be comfortable doing it knowing that it'll show up on the front page of the local newspaper in your area. That's probably the best litmus test. It's not always, you know, the safest or easiest way to approach it, because then maybe you're just playing far too conservatively and may not get the experiences and the sorts of relationships that you're looking for out of life. But I think it's a good safety measure if you want to put on the seatbelt and have the airbags on. Whatever you do, just make sure that you're okay with it showing up on the front page of the newspaper or the news that night. And then, you know, you really have nothing to be embarrassed or ashamed about, because you just acknowledge that that's who you are and you're comfortable with it. You guys let me know what you think. What's your experience with this stuff been? Has anybody dealt with something similar? And if you have, leave a comment below, hit the like button. And below in the top pinned comment, there's a bunch of links to some useful stuff that I'm affiliated with, like my book, my supplement line, my courses, and my community. Check them out. Have an amazing day. Peace out.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.